Very warm welcome to each of you. What an absolute delight having our guests join us for ET Edge Global Sustainability Alliance's initiative, Agri-Food System Summit 2026, a platform and an occasion for us to rightly celebrate what goes back and what makes this moment so very spectacular. Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. इस सोच के साथ आज के समिट की शुरुआत मैं करना चाहूंगी। मेरा नाम है ईशा भल्ला और आप सभी का यहाँ पर मैं बहुत बहुत तहे दिल से स्वागत करती हूँ। With the wonderful words as I borrow these from Shri Lal Bahadur Shastri ji, they say that today our nation lies equally to those who protect and those who feed it. And as we move forward in our journey towards Viksit Bharat by 2047, this vision expands into a much more broader, a more interconnected reality. Agri-food systems go much beyond than farming, to include supply chain, to include a broader and a more innovative subject, to include sustainability at its core, and also be a part of the global trade. India's agriculture transformation has been shaped by several pioneers, several visionaries, and each of you are doing your very best today to put it all together and blend it beautifully. As we look forward to talking about how this legacy can be taken ahead towards a future that is not just food secure, but also farmer resilient, market linked, and globally competitive. It is indeed a pleasure to have all of you join us for this platform dedicated to transformation. We would say this is a lot more than just a summit. This is a catalyst for dialogues, for collaboration, and more so for action. So believe it, that this is going to go beyond just sitting together today, deliberating over subjects and thoughts, but towards a more connected community. And as we explore India's challenges within the industry, it is also time for us to talk about the various opportunities that the agri-food ecosystem presents. But before we begin, may I also take a moment and thank our partners for not just supporting us, but for trusting us with this endeavor. I would like to thank our associate partners, PepsiCo India and Dhanuka Agritech. May I thank our knowledge partner, German Corporation, our supporting partner, IFCO, our supporting associations, Agriculture Today Group, AINA India, CDD India, and FEED. May I also take a moment and thank our media partners, Global Hues and ET Government, our education partners, Bennett University, our business insight partners, ET Edge Insights, and the entire team of ET Edge for conceptualizing and for executing this event, along with the fabulous team of Global Sustainability Alliance for bringing to us this initiative. With the support of all of these, we bring to you this platform. As we kickstart, I would like to encourage all of you to please make sure that you help us create a buzz on your social media handles, and please do remember to tag us. Before we begin with the keynote address by our keynote speaker, Rajat Nahani ji, who will be joining us in the next few minutes, we would like to begin with the inaugural leadership panel, where I bring to you esteemed leaders sharing with us thoughts on from farms to global markets. How is it that together we can transform India's food economy? I would like for all of you to please put your hands together as I welcome them here on this stage. Please do put your hands together as I present to you Dr. Tarun Sridhar, Director General, Indian Chamber of Food and Agriculture. A round of applause for Shri S. Ganesh Kumar, Chief Executive, Agribusiness Division, ITC. May I please welcome Dr. Girnendra Shukla, Chief Executive Officer, Rallis India. A round of applause from my very kind audience for Shri Nabin Kumare, Chief General Manager, Regional Officer, New Delhi, NABARD. Please put your hands together for Shri Rinkesh Satija, Vice President, Supply Chain, India and South Asia, PepsiCo. And what a delight to have amongst us our moderator, Dr. Sampriti Barua, Program Head, Sustainability, Agriculture, Food, WRI, India. A round of applause as our speakers today will discuss and explore how India can transition from farm-level production to global competitiveness through innovation, through investment, and through collaboration. But let me also request my audience members that I encourage all of you to ask questions. Maybe the last 5-7 minutes can be for my audience to share their thoughts so that we can have a very engaging session ahead of us. Ma'am, the stage is all yours.
Thank you. So good afternoon and welcome to the first leadership dialogue of this summit. From farm to global markets, transforming India's food economy. I'm Dr. Sampriti Barua, representing WRI India, as introduced already. So over the past 5 decades, India's agriculture policies have successfully delivered food security, driven by a strong focus on yield maximization and price stability. However, this progress has also brought us new challenges: soil degradation, water stress, and increasing risk for farmers. Further intensified by a challenge which is today's challenge, climate change. Today, we stand at an inflection point. The opportunity is not just to produce more, but to transform how our entire food system functions from farm to plate. The agri-food system approach pushes us to think beyond yields and instead balance farmer incomes, environmental sustainability, and human health. With India aspiring towards Viksit Bharat 2047, the question before us is how do we build a food system that is globally competitive, resilient, and inclusive. Some of the challenges that come to my mind just right away before we talk to our esteemed panel is high post-harvest losses, limited processing and cold chain infrastructure, fragmented supply chains, and smallholder-dominated production. We all know that in India, mostly Eastern India, is all about small farmers, farmers who is much, much lesser than 2 hectares of land. So with these contexts, I now go to my panelists here, and I would like to begin the first dialogue, the first round of the dialogue, going to Dr. Tarun Sridhar, Director General, Indian Chambers of Food and Agriculture. Dr. Sridhar, as we begin this conversation on from farm to global markets, how do you see India's food economy evolving at this moment? And what are the key shifts needed to better connect our farmers to global market while ensuring sustainability and resilience? Over to you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to open the dialogue today. Our very smart anchor began with a statement of Shri Lal Bahadur Shastri, late Shri Lal Bahadur Shastri, a former Prime Minister. So before speaking on how this food sector is evolving, let me go back past in the history. And I'm again reminded of late Shri Lal Bahadur Shastri, who during 1965 exhorted the entire nation to keep fast on Monday because we did not have sufficient food grains to feed our entire population. So this is where our journey began. You see, 2 years back, there was an article in The Economist which said, India, the next global food superpower. Now I am reminded that when we got independence, our entire production of food grains was somewhere close to 50 tons only. Now we are more than 250 tons. 31 million tons of milk. Now we are 248 million tons of milk. We used to be derided as the basket-case agriculture. Now we are called the bread basket of the world. We were called ship-to-mouth agriculture. Those of in the audience or the participants present here who were born after the 70s probably won't even know what the word famine means. When we got independence, we were suffering from the vagaries of the Bengal famine of 1943. The whole world derided us as a gone case, and they said that India as a nation would starve to death in the next 1 decade or so. This is the journey we have covered, and in the recent crisis, first starting from the Ukraine-Russia war, when 30% of the global exports of food grains were disrupted because Ukraine and Russia together supplied 30%. India came to the rescue of Western Asia as also Africa. Although later on, because of severe heat wave, we had to restrict our exports. Even now, when there is this specter of war all over the world, the Asian countries are, African countries and Western Asian countries are looking towards India as the savior in terms of food security of the world is concerned. So when you use the word sustainability and resilience of Indian agriculture, let me say that Indian agriculture is one of the most resilient sectors of this economy, because you see the established empirical data, Indian farmers have been producing record harvest year after year, despite very, very severe challenges. So I'll begin with saying that evolution of the agriculture and food sector in this country has been one of the biggest, if not the biggest, success stories of independent India. Having said that, the biggest challenge before us to become a global superpower in food sector is the overarching inadequacy of our productivity. While we sit atop the absolute production in almost all the agriculture commodities, be it food grains, be it milk, fish, we are the biggest milk producer by miles ahead. We produce 248 million tons of milk. Number two is USA, which produces 102. It is not even half of us. And just to clarify, when we are talking of agri-foods, we talk of livestock also. Am I right in understanding? Because my experience is whenever we talk in terms of agriculture and food sector, Tyagiji will bear me out, we generally totally tend to ignore the livestock sector. And livestock and fish combined together contribute 39% of the agricultural GDP. So we are the biggest milk producer, we are the second biggest fish producer, we are the second biggest egg producer in the world, we are the fifth largest meat producer in the world. Having said that, if we sit atop the production, but we sit at the bottom in terms of productivity. Now China has 1/3 of agriculture, land under agriculture, but our production is 1/3 of what China's production is. So we sit on one-third more land than China, but our production is 1/3. So one overarching issue which we need to address in the agriculture sector is the issue of productivity. Even a very marginal and incremental productivity could reap us the gains of a tremendous amount of increase in our production. Secondly, where we excel in quantity, we rather compromise on quality. So to capture the global market and to become a true global leaders, apart from addressing the issue of productivity, we need to address the issue of quality of our products. So we need to have this mindset change. There was a historical reason to our obsession with food security, because that was the biggest challenge before us when we gained independence. So now we have to move from calorie security to nutritional security, calorie to proteins. We have to move from quantity to quality. And when we talk in terms of our achievements in the agriculture and the food production sector, rather than boasting that we produce X tons of wheat or X tons of milk, let us talk in terms of the value we generate through our production systems. Lastly, I think I tend to exceed my time. I would make one more quick point before we come back again. We have to keep our entire food production center the primary producer focused. And that is the focus we tend to sometimes lose sight of. You see, everyone across the agriculture and food production chain works on business principles except the primary producer. We have to convert our farmer into an entrepreneur and make him think like a business. Let agriculture be a profession of choice. Let it be a profession of hope. Let it be business rather than just a primary food production sector in which a person has got engaged because that has been the hereditary profession and that's what he has been looking at. So we need to look at agriculture as a business, not merely just a primary producing sector. Thank you so much. I'll come back again, provided you allow me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sridhar. And very important points that what about, we are largest producers of a lot of commodities, but that's not because of our productivity scales are very good. Like, for example, livestock. Yes, livestock is a part of agriculture, and we are the largest milk producers. India is the largest milk producer, but not because our yield or productivity is good just by mere fact that we have lot of milching animals. The number of producing animals are much higher than its productivity. So there we have a gap there to look at, and that's not just for livestock, for the milk industry. The productivity story is same for most of the crops in India. Another very important point that you mentioned, nutrition gap persists despite a surplus production. And we need to look about the sustainability of not just the environment, but sustainable farmers. Farmers who bring food to our plates need to have sustainable income. They need to become entrepreneurs. And with that, I go to my next panelist. Because if farmers have to become entrepreneurs, if we have to reach global markets, the most important topic today is finance. And we have Dr. A.V. Bhavani Shankar, Chief General Manager, Farm Sector Development, NABARD. So going to you, Dr. Shankar, building on that vision of reaching global markets, what role do financing and rural institutions play in enabling farmers? Just giving you from where Dr. Sridhar left, especially smallholders. India is a country of smallholders, to access these opportunities, and where are the most critical gaps today? Over to you.
So good afternoon, and I am Nabeen Kumar Roy, Chief General Manager, NABARD, Delhi. For some reason, March last week is going on. Bhavani Shankar ji, who had to come, he is our Chief General Manager looking after the farm sector from the corporate office. He was to be here, rightly said by our anchor, but I have been told to second. But to the audience, just hold on, I'll not let you down. And one more leeway from our distinguished panelists and the organizers. If there are farmer producer organizations in the audience, and there would be some farmer representatives, so I may be also allowed to mix Hindi for better. I know communication is not art of language, but then at times words fill communication. तो मैं चाहूँगा कि मैं जो भी बोलूँ आपसे, जितने भी थोड़े समय के लिए बोलूँ, मैं आप तक पहुँचूँ. भाषा कौन सी है वो ज़्यादा मायने नहीं रखती है. तो मैडम ने कहा है कि जो स्मॉल और मार्जिनल फार्मर्स हैं, उनका बेसिक जो कॉन्टूर ऑफ क्वेश्चन है कि उसको लोकल टू ग्लोबल हम कैसे लेकर जाना चाहते हैं, उसकी क्या क्या पहलकदमियां हैं जो भारत सरकार के स्तर पे, नाबार्ड जैसी संस्था के स्तर पे, हम जैसे सर चैम्बर से हैं, ऐसे और भी त्यागी जी के बारे में सर ने बताया, आप सब मिलकर किस प्रकार से हम किसानों को आगे ले जाना चाहते हैं. और जहाँ तक स्मॉल और मार्जिनल फार्मर्स का सवाल है, उसमें फार्मर प्रोड्यूसर जो एग्रीगेशन है उसकी क्या भूमिका रहने वाली है, इस पे मैं थोड़ी सी बात आपको फाइनेंशियल एंगल से कहूँगा. हम लोग सब जानते हैं कि इकलौता किसान जब जाता है तो उसकी आवाज़ सुनी नहीं जाती है. उसी को दूर करने के लिए भारत में सहकारी समितियां बनी, द कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटीज़ केम इन 1905. उसके बाद भारत में वाईके अलग कमेटी आई जिसने फार्मर एग्रीगेशन को एक अमली जामा पहनाया कि इसको लीगैलिटी दिया जाए, एक इंस्टीट्यूशनल सेटअप किया जाए. और उससे आगे चलकर भारत सरकार की सेंट्रल सेक्टर की स्कीम आई, फार्मर प्रोड्यूसर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, 10,000 फार्मर्स, प्रोड्यूस फंड आया भारत सरकार की तरफ से. आज फार्मर प्रोड्यूसर कंपनीज अच्छा काम कर रही है अक्रॉस इंडिया. यू हैव लॉट ऑफ ग्रीन शूट्स विच आर कमिंग अप, एंड देर आर green shoots which came up about 10, 12, 15 years back, which have now gone into become a larger picture. They have become the banyan tree of development through the involvement of farmers themselves. So there, NABARD has varied experiences, differentiated levels of experiences as far as the small and marginal farmers are concerned. रही बात जो आज का फोकस है, जिसका क्यू मुझे मेरे मॉडरेटर से मिला है कि फिनेंस में क्या है. तो आज के समय में आप जिस भी बैंक का दरवाजा खटखटाएंगे, आपको फार्मर प्रोड्यूसर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के लिए आपको एक क्रेडिट प्रोडक्ट मिल जाएगा। जहां तक नाबार्ड का सवाल है, नाबार्ड राष्ट्रीय कृषि और ग्रामीण विकास बैंक है। हम बैंकों के बैंक हैं। हम इसलिए खड़े हैं कि बैंकों के पास रिसोर्सेस की कमी नहीं होनी चाहिए। जहां तक कृषि और ग्रामीण विकास में ऋण प्रवाह सुनिश्चित करना है, क्रेडिट, इन्फोर्सिंग द क्रेडिट फ्लो under the guidelines of Reserve Bank of India, there NABARD stands with the bankers so that our each and every farmers get connected. लेकिन ये सस्टेनेंस, जैसा कि सर बता रहे थे, सस्टेनेंस लेवल पे हम इसको आगे जब तक नहीं ले जाएंगे, वैल्यू चेन में जब तक हम अपने किसानों के समूहों को आगे लेकर नहीं जाएंगे, तब तक हमारी सारी बातें यहीं की धरी रह जाएगी। हम सस्टेनेंस एग्रीकल्चर से, जो सर बता रहे थे, प्रोडक्शन लेवल्स हमारे ज़्यादा हैं, प्रोडक्टिविटी लेस है, हम सिर्फ प्रोडक्शन लेवल को नहीं देखें। नाबार्ड में हम बियॉन्ड प्रोडक्शन जा रहे हैं कि आखिर किसान का वो उत्पाद कहाँ जा रहा है, क्या वो वेयर हाउसिंग हो रहा है या फिर उसके वैल्यू एडिशंस हो रहे हैं। बिकॉज द क्रक्स, यदि हिंदी में कहे तो मलाई वहाँ है, जैसे हम नारियल को खोलते हैं और नारियल का पानी पीने के बाद मलाई ढूंढते हैं, मलाई प्रोडक्शन का वहाँ है जब ये वैल्यू एडिशन में जाता है, जहां ये प्रोसेसिंग में जाता है। वहां हमारे ये स्मॉल एंड मार्जिनल फार्मर्स चूंकि अकेले कमजोर हैं, फार्मर प्रोड्यूसर ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस, कोऑपरेटिव्स के साथ मिलकर एकत्रित होकर क्या कर सकते हैं, और उसमें बड़ी संभावनाएं, प्राइवेट सेक्टर, पब्लिक सेक्टर, गवर्नमेंट ओन्ड बैंक्स, private banks, NABARD-like institutions, all of them are there. As I speak here, NABARD has a subsidiary called NAB Kisan Limited, which has funded more than 1,000 crore to farmer producer organizations across India. And going beyond, there are other plans to diversify. This is only one example. So similarly, banks, big banks are there, State Bank of India, Punjab National Bank, all of them, and NBFC put together, who are financing this small and marginal farmers. So there are scope. And I'll end by saying that it's not that it is only here we stop. There is now talk of going digital. NABARD has teamed up with Reserve Bank of India Innovation Hub, and we are doing the EKCC. EKCC is a digital KCC where the money is purpose bound. It is labeled. So a farmer producer organization wants the money for seeds, the seed portion will only be activated. The rest of it is closed by a digital close. It will open only when you go for irrigation, or you go for custom hiring. So purpose bound EKCC platform is being tested with NABARD and Reserve Bank of India. We are doing the data stacking through Agri Stack of Government of India, and future looks very bright as far as financing to this sector is concerned. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nabin Kumar Roy. Sorry about the name confusion. He is a CGM New Delhi for NABARD. So very rightly said, sir, about the importance of finance and the role NABARD plays. But for the today's house, I would still like to underline that agriculture finance is still considered a very risky proposition. I mean, 10 years back it was same, or maybe 20 years back it was same, and we have made very little progress. Farmers and smallholder farmers specifically would find it very difficult to find a loan or a finance. We still go back to the very, now I will call them traditional concepts of having an SAG, self-help group in their locality or in the village, or of FPO, but reaching out of financial institution without a FPO in picture is still difficult, and they are concerned, they are still considered the risky targets because of agriculture being, one-time payment, losing of harvest, and climate risk, so on and so forth. And so there is a long way to go when we want to support our farmers with the right finance at right time, because agriculture is needed, finance is needed seasonally. Thank you. With this, when we are talking about giving finance and about the agri value chain. So when we say agriculture value chain, it starts with in the farm gate, it starts with farmers. The value chain is a long scheme of events before it reaches the market. So before it reaches the local market, here we are targeting global markets. And here we cannot then leave out other stakeholders of this value chain. And hence we have to listen and we have to think about industry perspectives, because private sector is a key stakeholder of taking our agriculture produce from the farm gates to global markets. And when we talk of private industrial stakeholder, I cannot think of any other name but ITC, not because we have a panelist from ITC, but because we know that ITC has a good ground presence. Because in my last 15 years of agriculture career, I have always found somebody from ITC in the villages, in the districts, providing some support or the other. So going from from Mr. Roy to S. Ganesh Kumar, Chief Executive Officer, Agribusiness Division, ITC. From an industry perspective, how are companies like ITC Limited reimagining agribusiness models to better integrate farmers into globally competitive value chains? And what has been the most challenging in making these linkages work at scale?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. The journey that ITC has traversed is more than 2 decades. It was in the year 2002 that we sort of worked on this proposition of creating quality demand, right? And the idea of consistent quality, superior quality at affordable costs for the customer led us to build a portfolio of food brands that we have built over these last 2 decades, right? I'm sure everyone in the audience has used some of our brands, Ashirwad, Bingo, Sunfeast, Sunrise, Yippee. Now these are all food-facing brands that the company invested behind and went about. Today we have 140 food processing factories, right? And we are designing products that are tasty, that are consistent, and the consumer is not disappointed. In doing so, and when you create demand of consistency, create demand of quality, you are able to predict and go backwards into the farm and try and develop the farms in such a manner that this quality and this cost system is supported. And that's where we have backward integrated into the wheat value chain, the potato value chain, the spices value chain, and the dairy value chain over these last 2.5 decades. And we are expanding our presence into other value chains as well. While we have traversed this distance, our agribusiness has worked very closely with the farmers in supporting this front-end demand as we have progressed, whether it is crop development and demonstrations, whether it is climate resilience and identifying climate-smart activities at the farm end, whether it is creation of FPOs. Today, ITC has more than 2,200 FPOs that we are working with directly. And through them, we are working in these multiple value chains that deliver good quality and great practices. While this physical infrastructure is today reaching out to 2.2 million farmers, we have built a digital infrastructure, the ITC Mars digital infrastructure, which is able to connect with individual farmers through the FPOs, right? And in that process, you are able to address issues faster and more personalized as far as the farmer is concerned. It could be even crop advisory. It could be even, doing the paperwork for the farmer FPO combination to access a loan, right? It helps them discover prices for quality, premiums for quality, and we buy on the system, right? So this digital infrastructure and a physical presence covering 22 crop value chains today is what we have built alongside our product development and brands that connect with customers, and we have been scaling this up over the last 25 years now So that's been one model. This is in the domestic market. Today, we have also taken the spices value chain and built customer-specific product solutions in international markets, right? Big houses that need product solutions, whether it is heat, color, I'm talking in the spices space, whether it is taste or a particular dissolution, the designs are done by us for them. And we are backward integrating this into the crops and the varieties and how we deliver them these products. Now, as far as spices is concerned, ITC is the largest exporter of spices as we speak. ITC is the largest exported brand of Ashirvad in atta across the globe. So these are the steps. If you don't create demand, if you don't create the necessary steps or that smooth ladder for the consumer to graduate to quality, consistency, and be willing to pay for that in the form of a small premium, the farmer that he is producing does not get the benefit flowing backwards. Now, that is the overall philosophy in which ITC has been building these brands and this backward integration of our agri-value chains. I myself was part of the brand building business for many years. It has been a journey, and this journey is now continuing into the next level of how do we build sustainability? How do we bring those sustainable practices of enriching soil, lowering chemical or fertilizer use? How do we bring biologicals in? What is that crop diversification plan that we can do or try and execute with our reach such that what is calorie sufficient and protein and fat deficient? Can we bring in more pulses? Can we bring in more oil seeds? How do we grow this in a balanced manner is also being pursued. So sustainability is one way of saying it, but today in international markets, it is in the framework of compliant products to their residue levels, organic products, certified products. Now, these require a lot of training, awareness, and on-ground implementation of practices. And that is where ITC has spent a lot of time, effort, built infrastructure, and this is being driven to the next level. And a combination of market and back-end activity has helped us build scale, and very, very large scale across these brands and value chains. Today, we are working with a newly evolved industry, biofuels, right? Now, maize is a big requirement. And if we have done the work, and most of the maize that we are producing makes some of this ethanol industry inefficient to the extent of up to 12 to 14%. Now, the moment we are able to work with input partners, ethanol industry, which is very new at one level, it's about 10, 12 years, how to develop starch efficient for ethanol through maize in local geographies of ethanol factories will lower costs, will lower factory running times, is another area of market development that we have got into. So some of these are the examples in how we have tried to build this whole consumption system at scale. I hope I have answered your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kumar. Very important points from talking about forward linkage to connecting to backward linkage. So I would just like to underline here that for a good agricultural produce or for a good food agri value chain, having a right backward linkage is also very, very important as we are talking about forward linkage and reaching the global markets. So what do we mean about when we say that backward linkage? Backward linkage is when you have the right inputs at the right time. You have seeds, you have fertilizers, you have bio inputs, you have access to water, you get all the access to all the resources that is needed at that season for the farmers at an affordable price. That's the backward linkage, and ITC, I know, has been also working at the backward side, the story at the backward linkage side. From there, so when very rightly brought in, right time about backward linkage, when we say what inputs, how much of the inputs is needed, so what should be the POP, the package of practice that a farmer should follow for that particular crop that the farmer is engaging in. So we need to definitely talk about then about what is the innovations in inputs which are available in market. Does the farmer know about that? What is the crop science that needs to be followed? To discuss all of this, I now move to Dr. Gyanendra Shukla, Chief Executive Officer, Rallies India. And my question is, as we talk about scaling market linkages and global competitiveness, productivity at farm level becomes critical. So from the perspective of Rallies India, how can innovation in inputs, crop science, and advisory accelerate this shift? And at what more is needed to ensure this solution reach farmers at scale? Over to you.
Thank you very much, Times Group, for inviting me in this Agri-Food Summit. The way we look from Tata Group, we do have companies which work in the forward value chain, like Tata Consumer and Big Basket and all. But Rallies, we represent only input side of the story. And the way we look at farming system, we believe that for every other story beyond farm, has to start in the farm, and farms have to remain very, very productive. So for us, yield is number 1, 2, and 3 priority, because if yield doesn't go up, nothing can move forward. And I know India has done a wonderful job in terms of producing more, but we also need to be cognizant of the fact that our population also has grown a lot. So it's not time how much we produce. I think we should measure everything in terms of unit economics, and some of the new age companies know it very well. Is there a per capita availability of overall calories, protein, vitamin, mineral, everything is also improving. Because as economies grow, I think not only producing enough food, but variety of food in the quantity and quality desired by the consumer will become very, very important. So when we look at farm now, we are saying, okay, so if producing is very, very important, how are we also going to ensure that consumer is happy at the end? Because we like it or not, and the current energy crisis has exposed significantly India's vulnerability, because now we're saying, okay, is there enough urea available? Is there enough phosphorus going to be available? Sulfur going to be available, because sulfur has to come from petroleum refinery. So what we're trying to address and say, look, when all of this happen, and these things have happened in the past, there's no guarantee they will not happen in the future. So how do we prepare our farms and prepare them for continuously improving the yield gaps we have got in the research, as well as what is happening on the farm? And the way we see it is, and when we look at the factor of production, I find our weakest link where not much discussion happens is really soil, right? And many people will say, okay, we can produce food in the hydroponic system or greenhouses and all, but to me fundamental to agriculture system is soil. And there are enough studies available. When you study soil ecosystem, organic carbon becomes the critical factor of production. And I think most of our soil, I would say more than 70% of our soil, are falling well below required organic carbon content. And when they fall below certain limit, actually disrupts the capillary structure, and then inward water going inside the soil, recharging the soil, so the whole system gets disturbed. So the way we are trying to address, and we think is the right way to do it, is start looking at the soil and say, is the system which brought us post-green revolution to this place is going to be sustainable in the future? And answer is clearly not, because then soils were very rich, now they are overexploited. They are wanting more and more nutrition to improve the productivity. So how do we address soil factor? So we're not saying chemicals will go away, but we believe chemistry played a large role in the past, but biology is going to play a very, very important role as we move forward. So be it seed development, it's all about biology. So I know India somehow did not like the GM crops, but I think somehow we have to grow up from that and say, are we going to embrace biology in the form of gene editing, and we'll start developing crops which are not only more climate resistant, they also can address a lot of other issues of nutrition, speed of bringing new products, so many things can be addressed. So that's where biology will come and play a very, very important role. And at Rallis, we are very well prepared for that. Second thing will come in the soil. So some plants are very efficient, like most of the pulses can produce their own nitrogen from the air. I mean, urea plant exactly does the same thing, takes the air, nitrogen from the air and converts into basically utilizable nitrogen. So are there microbes available, or there biostimulant, biological material available, which we can bring to the table, make them more efficient, and they can be complemented with the existing practices. And that's another use of biology, which will probably bring some balance. Also, when less chemicals are used, I think system on its own starts repairing. And third one is really when you are growing the crop, how do you protect the crop? I think traditional crop protection methods now, where you develop chemical-based insecticide, fungicide, and herbicides, that also need to be looked at, and that's where a lot of biological pesticides will become very, very important. Through biology, developing plants which can naturally be resistant to diseases, so that you can reduce the chemical uses will also really become very, very important. And I believe ultimately at the end of the day, for a large population, not only for India, also for the export market, if we take right biology-based approach and start pivoting, because it's a pivot. I think our first green revolution pivot was actually on the chemical. Now can we pivot to biology and slowly transition and blend it together to make it more resilient? I think, and that's where we can start addressing consumer concerns also, to say, how do we deliver less residue food? Now the MRLs need to be respected, because increasingly agencies will put emphasis that, look, food must not have certain level of residue. So those are the things we are doing, and ultimately rubber hits at the road when you go to a small farm. How do you get that execution done so that every farmer understands? And we believe the old method of educating farmers is not useful now. We have to pivot digitally, and that's where now this Bharat and Vistar data and lot of digital stack is coming up. That is going to be very, very useful. The challenge would be that, is government regulatory system willing to move forward in tandem, and how are we going to address the quality of the data, how are we going to address the issue of data privacy and all. So there are a lot of issues have to be there, but I think the future, in my view, will belong to biology and digital way of engaging with the customer. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. With that, as very rightly said, that we have to think about the technology, the biology, not just, looking at the chemical innovation, but the biological innovation. I next move to somebody from PepsiCo, Mr. Rinkesh Satija, and why this is a very, very beautiful linkage, because when we are talking about biological innovation, I know that PepsiCo, at least in potato industry, when it talks about processing potatoes, takes the particular variety of potatoes to the farmers and gives the input with it. So that with that kind of experience that PepsiCo has, my question to you is, as we bring in the supply chain lens, how is PepsiCo strengthening farm-to-market systems in India to meet global standards of quality, traceability, and resilience, and what gaps still remains?
Thank you. And so, if I talk about PepsiCo, we work in 14 states, in farmers of 14 states. And then it's all about, I think, I take Dr. Dhar's point that we have to make farmer a partner in value creation. And again, a point of finance with Dr. Nabeen said, okay, providing right finance, but if you have right finance, then you have to rightly invest. Okay, so here in PepsiCo come into this place, wherein we work with farmer in a way wherein we not only provide variety or input or variety seed, we provide package of practice. We ensure they get right kind of inputs. We recommend them what is the right input, so that, and then we also work so that they take care of their crop in a way with wholesome guidance, from time of sowing to taking care of crop, then again at different milestones, how they can protect because agriculture is always full of serious uncertainties. Like every year you can say unseasonal rains and cyclones and all that. And then we work in a way, in addition to larger guidance which is available from government system and all, how can we partner with farmers so that we become partner in their value creation. So it's not about only buying and giving platform. It's about partnering with them from end to end. This is the basically difference between PepsiCo working and again some other options available in market. Now what we do in a way in terms of resilience. So resilience comes two ways. Resilience is not about only, it's a multiple meaning. One is it could be income resilience, it could be climate resilience. I think both are important. For farmer, it's a income resilience, which we provide them by assured buyback. Herein, we ensure that everything, it's not about, let's say what farmer needs. The mostly farmer needs that they should not be price taker, that whatever is situation giving price to them, they just be happy with that. They have to be price maker, wherein they know what price they deserve, from the cost of cultivation to their profitability. Herein we play the role. And again, bringing climate resilience to play. Now when we are becoming partner with them on price making, we also take care that how we are promoting right resilience, right regenerative agriculture practices. For example, we source from Gujarat, MP and Maharashtra, out of 14 states, I'm giving some examples, potato from all farms which are 100% of micro-irrigation, thanks to Government of India schemes. But what we did our bit, in addition to encouraging them and educating them, we provided them incentive for micro-irrigation. Micro-irrigation anyway helps farmer. If you go for micro-irrigation, your yield improves, which is the real concern which you say, Dr. Tapan. But how you break their barrier? You say, okay, hey man, you go for this, I will further give you incentive. I say double bonus for you. This comes into play, which we did there. Now what we are doing on resilience, let's say on soil testing. Now there are around, we are now promoting kind of a Mitti Janch Kendra, a different kind of soil testing system wherein you can get soil testing results very fast in a simple way. Great work is being done by government, but how can we facilitate to farmers so that farmers hardly has 10 to 14 days between two crop cycles to plant another crop. And while, because we have so many farmers, so many land banks, largest cultivation land bank, if they get results in 1 week, it is too late for them. They have to decide quickly. Now we are promoting that system wherein they get results in 1 hour's time, and our entrepreneurs with whom we are partnering startups, they are going to them and giving them quick results. So what you can do in next 10 days to prepare for your soil and all. So around 8,000 acres last year we took into Mitti Janch Kendra. Then again, organic manures. In last 2 years, we have covered around 16,000, I'm talking of one season, through organic manure applications. So this is climate resilience. If you work on income resilience, you work on climate resilience, you finally ensure that your farmer is producing right product, right quality product, because most of the time when their crop is impacted, their quality is impacted. So input to hand holding is something which ensures they get right quality of potato. That definitely helps in right kind of products. And now this also comes brings traceability in play. The digitization work which we have done from marking every farm, from digitally receiving, from then keeping track of their consumptions to finally product advertisement, it gives a traceability which is much needed now for as per in Indian scenarios also, from Indian rules and global scenarios also. I think more can be said, but
no,
some
you'll
glimpse
get a
of this
second
stuff.
chance to say it on. So thank you, thank you, Mr. Satija, and we'll take a quick second round, just very short answers. I cannot but not touch upon this topic, Dr. Sridhar. I want you to, we have touched upon everything but policies for reaching the global market. Quickly, looking ahead, what are the top 2 or 3 policy that India must urgently address for it to be a global leader in food systems? Short answer.
Oh, very short, because that warning sign is flashing at me. You see, we have to move from the culture of subsidy to investment. That is number one. I'll very briefly give you the shrimp story of India. We are one of the biggest shrimp exporters in the world. Until recently, we were the biggest shrimp exporter in the world. In the first decade of this century, the entire shrimp industry was in doldrums. Our production levels had dropped down to 63,000 tons. 75% shrimp farms were closed because of a widespread disease called white spot syndrome, virus WSSV. And processing plants were working at less than half their capacity. But within a period of 3 or 4 years, there was a turnaround, and we became the global giant in shrimp, and we became the biggest exporter of shrimp in the world. How did it become? It was only on account of sound policy, a good ecosystem to allow entrepreneurship and business enterprises to develop, very strong investment in regulatory framework and infrastructure required to meet compliances. Zero subsidy, zero welfare activity. The investment and good sound policy itself became a big subsidy. A farmer who could barely afford a bicycle today drives a Mercedes. So this is what we should look at: investment and policy, not subsidies and welfare. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Roy, so which financing models, for the next 5 years, so blended finance, value chain financing, digital credit, could you just mention something which is burning and which needs to be taken urgently in the next 5 year financing model? Anything that comes to your mind?
Looking at the scenario and the ecosystem support that we have for small and marginal farmers, as well as people who are aspiring to go beyond and touch the global markets, it is the local resilience that we are looking at. And for that, composite product, which will have sort of blended finance, value chain with an integrated approach to support value chain financing, as well as, I have spoken in first part also, as well as to bring in transparency, the digital platform. So to my mind, it comes that when it is talking about finance, going beyond, Reserve Bank of India has come up with this unique lending platform, ULI, like all of us are aware of UPI, similarly is ULI. So in days to come, this ULI from NABARD perspective would include the blended finance, which will be looking at, value chain moving across through digital means. So unified lending interface, ladies and gentlemen, it's round the corner, and looking beyond 5 years, that would be the thing of the present.
Thank you. Mr. S. Ganesh Kumar, what is the one structural change industry would most likely to see to reach the global market? One structural change.
Well, I think the need to increase the incomes at the farmer level is through the productivity route, is through the technology route. And this is only possible if policy facilitates aggregation of farmlands, which is today the farmers are highly fragmented and farming is highly fragmented. So policy that enables large farms which are aggregated, and there's a mechanism that can be thought out through policy, maybe even included with the private public partnerships. So you will be able to get technology into the fields. You will be able to utilize these technologies more efficiently, and therefore superior quality, superior productivity, and greater incomes. So that would be one policy if you are restricting me to one policy.
Thank you. Dr. Gyanendra Shukla, your thoughts, your quick thoughts on precision agriculture and data-driven advisory.
So, obviously, upfront cost is very high, and monetization is not very easy for the company. So, whatever support can come from the government. But I would say innovation is the highest priority for our company. We just launched a platform called Idea to Impact, and you won't believe within a week of launching, because as a brand under Tata, people trust us, we had 100 applications. So there's a lot of innovation happening, but for government to support innovation, protect innovation, and fund innovation, there are a lot of talented people can bring major change in this country. In addition to various other things government is trying to do on the digital Bharat Vistar side and other things.
Thank you. Finally, Mr. Rinkesh Satija, just where you left on traceability, because the global focus is on traceability, what is that support needed to scale traceability in India? Quickly, short answer.
I think there could be a shared digital infrastructure. And I think that shared digital infrastructure supporting everyone, all ecosystem partners who are working from input supply to helping farmers, contract farming, buying from the farmers, so that this shared infrastructure can be used by everyone for traceability. And that's there in many countries very well. I think recently I was talking to someone in Russia, Somewhere in some problem was there in some farm, in some cattle like buffaloes and all. And they were able to trace where these milk products are there, in which stores, which supermarket in current Russia. So we are, I think, we need that. There is some name also for this infrastructure, but I'm forgetting that. But India needs it.
Thank you. Thank you to all panelists. It's very difficult to sum up this session because we have spoken about a lot of things, policies, input market, export markets. But the quick takeaways for me and for the audience here, just a revision, is that what is very important today to reach global markets is value addition, food processing, meeting global standards for exports, that is quality, traceability, sustainability, technology and innovation, agri-tech, digital platform, as well as ensuring that our farmers are sustainable with sustainable inputs, sustainable environment and sustainable income for the farmers. Thank you. We would have loved audience questions, but we are running out of time. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, ma'am. Let's hear a round of applause for our moderator and our panelists. May I request all of you to join us for a group photograph. A very, very diverse set of finalists right here with us. And I think each and every one of them shared some amazing thoughts, beautifully summed up by our moderator, Dr. Barua here. It's been such a pleasure having all of you join in. Please put your hands together once again for Dr. Tarun Sridhar, Shri S. Ganesh Kumar, Dr. Gyanendra Shukla ji. What a pleasure having Shri Nabeen Kumar Roy here with us, Rinkesh Satija ji, as we shared some amazing thoughts. Thank you all so very much. They'll be around and I'm sure more than happy to take questions offline later this evening.